When
was the last time you looked at it?
No questions. As someone that's actually done it, his shit doesn't
Hold on,
work.
he was at.
Oh, don't cut me off. Don't cut me off, Eden. Don't cut me off, Eden.
When was the last time you looked at it?
You're
probably talking about like what he showed right after the trip or right before the trip. It's been over a year, bro. It's way different now. He has modeled out not only a counter rotation of an apparent sun, right? Like the counter rotation of all the star trails that follows the observer. It stretches them out. And you can replicate seeing the Southern Cross in all directions, the counter rotation in all directions, the counter rotation of the sun in all directions, of the moon in all directions. It flips naturally. It's just a fact.
Is there one of them that we could go over as a community and we can confirm that? Because I guarantee you that it doesn't work. But we don't know. It's my word means nothing until we confirm it. That's an invitation, by the way. So a no is appropriate.
Why would I say no?
Whatever. I wouldn't question it.
I'm saying he just showed it to me, so whatever. But this is the thing, right? Like, do you know how a kaleidoscope works?
It's been a while.
I know how.
But we all agree that kaleidoscopes are.
I know how a kaleidoscope works with it. If you want to.
Okay, so we all agree it's a real thing.
Look,
it's a real thing.
I'm not trying to stop you from talking about it, but
dude, if you're just gonna say the same retarded conclusions
it's
over and over,
it's an invitation to do the real deal. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, because I don't really need to hear you just repeatedly say no.
No. I'll respect you. I'll go on mute and you carry on your thing. I don't want to interrupt.
Do you know how a kaleidoscope works?
You already got your answer on that one. Listen, Witsit, I'm going to go on mute. You carry on your own.
So you don't know how it works. So
I'm here to listen to you, okay? I'm not here to
He doesn't.
Go ahead.
You're not.
He never engages. Dude, he never engages with questions.
All right, Riggs, just because you said
it's
that.
The truth.
Here's the deal.
Let's go through this model as a
kaleidoscope is a real.
My claim is I guarantee I can prove it doesn't work.
Bro, you can just chill.
Okay, look, the point is, kaleidoscope's a real thing, regardless, right? Like whether that's happening or not, it's just a real thing. And if you actually look into the way that they work, it's very interesting. You have a central image, like something in the center. It takes that, splices it out, and stretches it out all along the edges. And depending on where you move, it changes its orientation and depiction. But it has a singular image. It's a singular central image, and then it splays it out. So a kaleidoscope's very interesting, right? And when I was spitballing...
What the fuck are you talking about splicing it out? These are fucking 3 mirrors that you're looking along. A kaleidoscope is just 3 mirrors at a 60-degree angle towards it, and you're looking to it. The only thing is that when you're rotating it, the small crystals or whatever you have, flakes in the back, they are changing positions, so the actual image is changing. It's just mirrored on all 3 edges.
So do you not understand how that applies? So when you
I know how
spin
the kaleidoscope work, and when you spin it,
was that my question? Was that my question?
Changes.
You're so confident in your position that you have to be the only one to talk. Isn't that interesting how that works? That wasn't my question.
No, you're just bullshitting.
You're interrupting me again. You're so confident you have to interrupt me. So I asked you a question. Do you not understand how it applies?
It has nothing to do with our world.
Okay, so you don't understand.
With a moving picture.
Okay, so you don't understand. So the moving picture thing. Okay, I got you. Don't worry. The moving picture thing, like when you spin the kaleidoscope, what would that be in the analogy of the Earth?
Enlighten me.
It would be the observer moving. You don't have to spin anything. You don't have to move anything. The fact that you don't comprehend that certainly isn't my problem, bro. It certainly isn't. So it's just a fact that the orientation in which it's viewed would be the same. Are you denying relative motion?
So, Witsit, a kaleidoscope is just mirroring whatever you have in this triangle that you're straight looking at on all 3 edges. If the observer is on the other side of the kaleidoscope, you will see the same thing because it's symmetrical. So either you have the picture on the one side and the observer on the other side, or you have the observer on the other side and the picture of the one side, or whatever you're looking to. It's just
it changes based on the angle of... Stop interrupting me, dude.
There are no angles changed. The angles stay the same. Just the picture in the triangle is changing.
Bruh,
you're spurging out, man.
Yeah, like you make your point and then I go to respond.
I've never heard you like this.
Yo, so the thing is, the angle of view changes what it looks like. That's what
No.
you're changing. Oh my God. When I spin a kaleidoscope, am I changing the angle of view? Yes or no?
No, you're
Okay,
not.
so then you don't understand it.
No, you are just rotating it around a central axis. No angle is changing.
You're not changing
That's
Okay,
exactly
anything.
the
You're still
point.
looking
You are
straight
not.
ahead.
You
No,
rotating.
as
you're
it
looking. You're
as
looking
it
straight
oh
ahead.
my God, this
and
is
you
like
have three.
autistically
You have.
retarded.
Wait a second. You asked me a question, so let me answer. You're looking straight through the kaleidoscope, and there are three angles as 60 degrees. So three
No,
mirrors
there
60
isn't.
degrees
No, there
each
isn't.
other.
No,
If
you're
you
not. No, you're not
rotate it,
telling the truth.
if you
No, it
rotate
isn't.
it,
No, it
no
isn't. No,
angle changes. So you are so confident that has to interrupt me now, or what?
This is a demonstration showing how we can have sunrises and sunsets over a level surface with the sun moving horizontally above that level surface. I'm using a laser, a Fresnel lens, a couple of Lego men, a cardboard box, my coffee table, and iPhone camera. The camera is positioned level with the table, the Fresnel lens is between the camera and everything else. The laser is pointed level above the Fresnel lens onto the top of the box. You can see the focal point of light representing the sun on the top of the box, maintaining its position at that same point on the box as I move the box away. This represents the sun moving through the atmos above us. As you can see, it disappears bottom up behind the shoulder of the Lego man. If the table were longer, I could get it to set bottom up to the apparent horizon in this demonstration. The sun is also maintaining its angular size, very minimal angular size change. This is because of the atmos lensing that we get, and the Fresnel lens is what's inducing that in this demonstration. This is only a single Fresnel lens. Our atmos is much more diverse than that. So we see the bottom-up obstruction, we see the receding and the rising of the sun, we see minimal angular size change, and it's all physically demonstrated assuming a level Earth with a sun moving horizontally level above that level Earth. You also see the bottom-up obstruction with the Lego men. The guy in blue, his legs are obstructed. The guy in red, his aren't. The guy in blue is only about an inch or so further back. So this is a physical demonstration of level Earth. This is a digital model for the globe. It uses an azimuthal dome of view, which I'm showing here, and I'm just moving that azimuthal dome of view north or south, and then the sun is showing in an apparent position to the viewer relative to where that personal azimuthal dome is, where the viewer is, where their personal azimuthal dome of view is. So the heliocentric model does claim an azimuthal dome of view, and with that, it has to claim an apparent view of the sun, which you can see the apparent position of the sun in that azimuthal dome of view. The blue line is a line drawing to the actual sun in this model. So not only does it claim an personal azimuthal dome of view, it claims an apparent position of the luminaries in the azimuthal dome of view, which is exactly what we as biblical cosmologists, or flat earthers if you will, claim. We claim that our azimuthal dome of view gives us a shrunken down view of the larger dome, celestial dome, and the luminaries within it above us. It works just the same on our model as far as the azimuthal dome of view, apparent position, everything. This is a digital model for the globe. It uses an Bonneville salt flats. It is extremely flat.
So you are so confident that has to interrupt me now, or what?
I didn't
So
interrupt
there's
you.
no angle changed with it.
Okay, I'm gonna respond now. Okay, so I can't believe you guys just answered the question like that. Like, yeah, of course, when I'm looking in a kaleidoscope, I'm just looking at the same angle, dude. Okay, we're talking about it as it applies in an analogy. If you translated that over to an Earth. Okay, so yes, as you were moving along the surface, you would be viewing the same phenomena from a different angle. It would translate the same as you moving something in a kaleidoscope. That is a fact. Okay, are you with me so far? Okay, yes, you can't even respond. Okay, you can't even
This
respond.
is so fucking dumb. Sorry, but it's no.
Well,
No, what's so
but,
dumb
no,
is that you couldn't
I want to
respond.
be fair. I want to be fair. So you initially had said you're changing your angle of view in a kaleidoscope, but now you've moved off that, right?
I didn't say you're changing. The fact, do you think I don't know you just stare right down the middle the whole time?
I know, but then why'd you say that? You did say that you're changing your angle of view when you're looking through a kaleidoscope.
No. When you spin it, right? When you spin it, what you're doing is changing the angle of the light that you view.
No,
Okay, really? So tell me how it works.
you're not changing your angle of view. The mirrors are The mirrors are rotating around a center point, just like Snooze said.
So it changes the angle of light that you view.
No,
Okay. Yeah,
you're
Yes,
just rotating.
yes, actually,
you're
yes.
just rotating
he's running away from his original point, but it's okay. It's
No, I'm
fine.
not. No, I'm not. I get it that you can't actually engage
I'll
with the
pull up the-
substance of
I'll
the
pull-
thing every single
There
time
is-
we ever have a
Yeah.
conversation.
You guys, can you
Why are you interrupting me?
stop
You're
interrupting
all
Austin?
Yeah. So like this is very simple. The point is that a kaleidoscope is a real phenomena. Okay. What a kaleidoscope shows you would be a mechanism to explain what we observe in the South on a flat Earth. That's a fact. That's a fact. It takes a central image and then it splices it out. The guy jumps in. It doesn't literally splice it out. Yeah. Good thing I wasn't saying it.
Where's the repeating? Where's the
Splicing.
repeating?
Oh my God.
We can't hear you. Where's the repeating image? Where's the repeating images in the viewers, like at the South Pole?
Okay. So it takes the central image and then it splices that along the outside, right? And so it would, and then what it does is it distorts and stretches it out.
Okay, so it doesn't
Okay, so
repeat the image like a kaleidoscope, right?
Yeah, a
What? No, that
kaleidoscope is
is
not
a
distorting
kaleidoscope
and not
repeats
stretching.
the image, but
Right.
it
It what? It distorts,
distorts
it. Okay.
it.
So where's the repeating
So you were
image,
wrong. So
like,
so you were wrong. So you were wrong, right? You were wrong.
No, I said where does the viewer see repeating
No.
images in the south?
You were wrong. You misunderstood it. We're talking about the kaleidoscope. You started talking
No,
about the south.
Hold on a
Yes.
second,
So
Snooze. I just want give me 1 minute. So you kaleidoscopes repeats the images. They are distorted. I agree with you. So where
no.
happened like at the South Pole?
he said
Wait,
no.
Why are they distorted? The mirrors are flat. There is no distortion happening at all.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're dumb, dude. The image
No,
that
I'm not
you
dumb.
see.
I have looked into a
Oh my God,
kaleidoscope.
why are you
There
interrupting
are
every time? I
3
always let you say
shade
your
mirrors.
point. And
You just
dude,
started
I'll
with
be honest, right?
insulting
You
me.
know you
Snooze, you
can't debate
let
me.
him
Snooze.
finish.
No. You
Snooze,
started
bro.
with insulting me.
Yeah,
Done.
no, dude. Thank you.
Okay. So the point is, you guys keep conflating the physical, like the physicality of what's like the intricate parts of it, right? The constituent parts of the kaleidoscope with the image, when the whole time we're talking about the image. It's like you guys don't understand. We're talking about what's viewed, what's observed, the optics, the image. That's what we're talking about. Because guess what we're doing when we look at the sky? We're seeing it, we're looking at it. It's about optics, it's about the observation. So when I make a point about the what is observed, and you keep responding with the mirrors, the crystals, the mirrors, you're not even having the same conversation I am.
Yeah.
The
So the
optic
effect of the
image is
effect of,
distorted and splices out all along the outside. So what that shows is a real physical mechanism that we have on Earth. But please just listen, maybe. As a real physical
okay.
mechanism we have
Yeah.
on Earth. Shut up, dude. You're so anxious to talk. There's a 0% chance you're about to
Pause.
engage
We
with what I'm
paused.
saying.
Yeah, I am.
It's a central image, yet it is shown in a different format all along the outside in like quadrants or however many sections there are. So we have a real mechanism that shows that you can have, if there's a reflection, so there's a reflective effect taking place, that the central image will be spliced out and distorted all along the outside. Do we agree?
Okay, Witsit. Can we maybe start with defining?
You got out, I think.
Sorry. Yeah, I got a call. So let's define starting words, because the word splicing mean joining stuff together. Did you
You
hear me
cut
now?
out again, Snooze. Did you get another
Oh,
call?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's doing that, just real quick. So in a kaleidoscope, the images are repeated. Where do we see that on Earth?
That's the idea. Is if it works like a kaleidoscope, it would be the central. There's a flat Earth. There's a singular rotation over top of it. You have the central rotation. That rotation is then distorted and stretched out all along the outside, right? So
But the
so in
observer
that
can't see this. The observer can't see the repeated image like they can in a kaleidoscope. But on Earth, you can see it from different vantage points. Is your point?
what? No, it's just that the distortion itself would make it unrecognizable to the central image,
So you're
which is what
saying
happens
the
in a
image.
kaleidoscope.
So yeah, but in a kaleidoscope, I can see repeating patterns right around the central image. But on Earth, I don't see that, right? Or are you saying that we do see
That's not well. That's not that's not analogous, right? Like the patterns. You mean like the shapes? Because
So the central image is repeated. Hold on a second, Snooze. The central image is repeated in a kaleidoscope on the outside edges. Are you claiming that that is what's happening on Earth? But we don't see it.
First of all, I'm not claiming anything's happening on Earth. Okay, what I'm claiming is that there's a mechanism that could explain some of the stuff that we see on Earth, and because unlike you, I don't just make definitive claims that I can't prove. But the point is that if that were happening, right, it would be so distorted and stretched out, it wouldn't look the same as it does in the center.
Okay, so the analogous. Sorry, one more thing, Snooze, and then you're next. The one thing that's not analogous, then you're saying, is when I look through a kaleidoscope, I see the central pattern, and then I see it also repeated around. But as an observer, I never see that on Earth. Where I see the central pattern, I see it repeated around. So you're not saying that part is analogous.
What? No, you see it repeated. You see it repeated around, but you only see parts of it, and you see it distorted, and it doesn't look the same.
That's so
it doesn't
funny.
really matter how much you giggle. It's a fact. It doesn't matter how much you giggle.
But it doesn't look.
Okay,
That's so good. Okay,
so
thanks.
you think that everyone in the room is just going to believe you and they can't just go look at one
no.
because it's just a fact
Just the same way you
the
do.
pattern
Okay.
the
So
pattern on
the
the
thing that I
outside looks
wanted
way
to,
different. The pattern on the outside looks way different. When the
yeah,
kaleidoscope,
it doesn't.
depending on how you twist it, it factually does.
No.
I just looked at one 2 days ago.
Yeah, then look again. The middle triangle is repeated in all three directions. There might be also a kaleidoscope that have more than 3 mirrors, but typically they are just made out of 3 mirrors. So, but I
Isn't
would
there
like to start.
like
Wait a second, Taylor, I'm not done. I would like to start on the definition of words that you said, because you were repeating the word splicing something out. Can you explain to me what the word splicing means?
Okay, use a different
I
word.
can explain it in biology.
It
means you're
I know
removing
that, but-
segments.
No, yeah, wait a second. But can
No, you
Witsit,
can't
can
control
you
the room
explain what
snooze.
you mean?
Sorry.
I just asked a question to Witsit. Why are you intervening?
He's not being interrogated by you. He's not under interrogation.
No, we are having a discussion, and he used words.
Is that what you call this?
You're
that
having a
makes no
discussion, really.
sense.
No, it's more like an interrogation.
Okay, you're interrupting again. So he used words
I don't care.
that make
Like,
no
I'm not even
sense in the
interrupting.
order. It makes no sense
Running
in
the
the
room.
order that he is using the words. So I asked him to explain the words.
It does make sense. I'm sorry you don't understand it. So even in
Okay,
splicing,
explain the word
stop
splicing,
it. You're immediately
please.
interrupting me. I'm not
Snooze.
going to say it. Listen to me. I'm not going to say another word to you. You
Yeah,
interrupt me again.
who unmuted Snooze? He's obviously
I'm not gonna
spurging out. He
scream,
can't handle.
speak.
He can't handle himself. Right, Snooze? You can't
Seriously,
handle it?
Rick?
Well,
Yeah, dude, you
Because
can't
I
handle it.
asked him a question to
Dude,
explain the word that he
you guys
used.
look. Just because Woods is here doesn't mean that you guys get to come here and run the place. All right.
I'm not running the place. I'm just asking him a
Well, then
question
calm down.
what he means
Calm
with the
down.
word.
Calm
Because
down.
Calm down. Okay, I'm very calm.
down.
We don't need you
Because
to
the
repeat
normal
it. We don't need
meaning
you to
of
repeat
the
it. We don't need you to repeat it. Okay, yeah, you asked a question. As soon as I went to answer it, you started talking all over me again. It's ridiculous. We've heard your question. It's not a good question. It's stupid. Okay. Splicing, even in the context of combining things together, it takes a single image and it takes multiple versions of that image and they're combined all along the outside. Yes, it splices them together. There are multiple depictions of the same singular central image that are placed amongst each other parallel, spliced together all along the outside.
Isn't there like a northern and a southern cross and stuff? I haven't looked into star charts much, but I've heard that there are some similar like orientations, but could be wrong. I know there's a southern cross.
It's a claim. I mean, you know, it's a claim. But what is interesting in general, right, is like if you have a mirroring effect, and there are many versions of kaleidoscopes. There's no like limitation on the amount of mirrors you can have, right? It's simply a proof of concept, right? Which is that you can have a mirroring effect where all along the outside you're going to get the same depiction. So what that would mean is like when you have a southern star trail, right, or like a southern rotation or the southern cross or whatever, like on a flat earth, when you look out south, you'd be looking in all these different directions. But with an effect like a kaleidoscope, each different observer could look out to their south and still would see the same image despite the fact that it's not physically actually in the same location. That is just a fact. But what's even more interesting is if you look at the stuff that Joe has done, he replicates like the star trails at the equator, the star trails on both sides, it changing from the equator out, the counter rotation. The counter rotation follows the observer all along the outside. You have like different quadrants. And that's not necessarily the best word because it's not just 4 necessarily, but it's like different groups all along the outside, right? And like that's interesting, right? Like just using dome optics and a mirroring effect, you can show like a counter rotation. So it is not proof of a globe, I can assure you.
So do you still think it could be a single pole instead of a dual pole with what you saw in Antarctica and Joe Hanvey's model, or no?
Yes.
What do you think about the dual pole? Have you seen E1's presentations on them?
I haven't seen his presentations. I mean, I from my understanding of it, I have there's like some things that just wouldn't really work, right? Like you would have to have the sun kind of pop over on the other side. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I've never thought that's what happens.
No, it wouldn't pop up. I have a little like it would basically rotate around the northern and then like kind of moved and rotate around the southern hemisphere per se in this dual pole model. And it kind of like makes a figure 8 over the course of a year, kind of like the analemma, you know.
And you just have
I
to
don't know. I
slightly
think it's pretty
rearrange
interesting.
the land.
Yeah,
the
I don't
land
know.
sizes are
New
what really
perspective.
off.
Well, they say about every model, but new perspective. If you see him around, he's very passionate about it.
Yeah, like I'm open to the dual pole. You know, I mean, it's like how electromagnetic field takes place. So
So does Joe Hanvey's model, does it match up with the latitude and longitude distance experiments that the Globers did while you were down there, or no?
those are inconsequential to the conversation. Those are the longitudinal tests they did, but they measure the distance between longitude
Why are you
using a
laughing?
GPS
Why
because
are
it's
you
stupid.
laughing?
Dude, y'all laughed
Well,
earlier. Don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. He called me laughing.
Okay. Anyway,
On point.
how do
You
you
don't,
get?
you
laughing
don't get it.
bad or
Hold on a
good?
second. Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
So
go
I
ahead and
want to ask
finish.
why he thinks they're why. Yeah, thank you. Please
He's
don't interrupt.
not obligated to
I'm just
answer you
curious
either.
why he isn't. You're right. So let me finish and stop interrupting. The question I had is, why do you think it's dumb, those longitude or latitude measurements that they made down there?
It just reifies the model in contention. That's all it's doing, and we understand that they're just projections.
I have a question.
So
How do we get
GPNI
converging and diverging stars? Like that's a real thing that we observe. Like you can see the stars come together and be close in a parent position, then like move away from one another. How does that even happen?
They don't. We don't actually see that.
What was it you say happened?
The
I'm
converging
curious
and
if
diverging stars at the equator?
Witsit, do you agree that happens or no? Or you have no say on it?
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, like where it looks
Yeah.
like they go in a straight line in the equator and then like diverge out from there.
Compresses.
Yeah, it seems like, and it could just be the camera optics, but like different stars come together and get closer and then further away, like diverge out from one another.
It's definitely
But I'm not
camera
100%.
optics.
I don't know.
Are you saying
I
that
don't know
that's
about
not
It's
what the
camera
model?
optics.
Are you saying that's not what the globe model says would happen, Taylor?
Well,
Yeah, I just
actually,
don't see how stars. I mean, if that's true, that's why I was putting it out there. Like, let me try to post a video of it because it looks like the stars literally will come together at the equator and diverge out. I don't know.
yes,
Yeah,
I'm sure they're aware of it. Converging star trails happen because of perspective makes the apparent paths of stars seem to meet towards a common point in the sky. As Earth rotates, potentially, stars appear to move in circular paths around a celestial pole. In a time lapse, these paths form arcs that become tighter toward the pole. The apparent convergence is therefore a combination of Earth's supposed rotation, the observer's viewing direction, and perspective projection onto the sky or camera, similar to parallel lines appearing to converge towards a vanishing point. Thank you.
Dang, you recited that all from memory. That's good. Very good.
Oh, no.
Eden, I had
They
you turned
They don't
down.
actually. They don't actually.
I'm so
diverge.
sorry if I interrupted you earlier.
It's okay. Thank you, Taylor.
I don't even know.
So
how
could
that
I
happened.
ask you a question, Witsit?
No.
No.
Yeah. What's your question, man?
So when you were in Antarctica, was there any observation you made there that you can apply this kaleidoscope effect to that would explain something to you that you observed?
It would be interchangeable, effectively.
But what specifically would you have been looking at for you to have said that would be explained by this kaleidoscope effect?
We didn't go where you could see that. You would have to see the stars, right? When we went, you didn't see stars, right? So
Okay, so it only applies to stars, this kaleidoscope thing?
no, is that what I said?
No, no, but you just said you said about stars and you didn't see stars, so I'm just asking. Does it apply to the sun as well? Would it apply to the sun?
Yes. But you're asking me, like, is there anything that we observed that I would expect to based on that effect? And the only thing that would possibly venture into the realm of exclusive and not just interchangeable, meaning the same for both globe or flat, would be the stars. And specifically, it would be like transitioning around the south while following the stars and seeing like if they follow you or they transition, etc. But really, with the kaleidoscope effect, it would be the same because it would just follow you. And then in the globe, it would follow you as well, which would explain why the globe was modeled in the first place, right? If this phenomenon is real, then you would look at the sky and you'd reverse engineer a globe from it.
Okay, but you didn't see the stars. You saw the sun. I mean, you did say before when I spoke to you that you're looking at facing south, looking at the sun in the south, but you couldn't really guarantee that was actually the sun and not a reflection.
What? Oh, well, that would still be it would be an apparent position of the sun, so it would still be the sun, right? Like, I don't think we see the actual position of the sun ever.
But if you're facing south, looking at the sun in the south, if that's a reflection from somewhere else, because you did say, look at Joe Hanvey and his flashlight model, which would kind of give an indication that you weren't really seeing the actual sun, you were seeing a reflection of it in the south. And that's how I understood what you were saying.
It would be an apparent position, yeah.
Okay, but the sun would have a GP at that time, wouldn't it?
Does the apparent position also put off heat?
Yeah, why would it not?
Did I just get hijacked or what?
Sorry, my bad.
Wait, does a reflection of the sun put off heat on the Earth? Yes. So why would this not? If I take a mirror outside and I reflect the sun, if I take a mirror outside and I reflect the sun, does it put off heat?
Would the reflected sun have the same GP as the actual sun?
It would just be the GP relative to its apparent location. So why not?
So it was the sun you were looking at or not the sun?
It's always the sun in an apparent position.
Okay,
there has to
so
be
it
an
was in the
actual sun.
south.
Oh, I don't know if you even understand. I mean,
Well, I do,
the
because
sun-
I mean, at that point, the sun would be going around the Tropic of Capricorn, wouldn't it?
I don't know where the actual sun is because I think we just see an apparent position of the sun. And hey, newsflash, guys, this was a problem for Flat Earth before we went to Antarctica. We already knew that we couldn't be seeing the sun in an actual position in the south.
Yeah, but
I've said that online. Stop interrupting me. I'm going to disengage. I've said that online.
But this was
if I'm just letting you know, Elder Bear, if you interrupt me, I'm going to disengage. I've said it online for 4 or 5 years and done extensive presentations on it for hours at a time.
Die Helme hatte nicht, oder was?
What?
Yeah, like the personal.
Muss mir nochmal bei Gelegenheit den Schlüssel geben. Oder gibt's mir eh, ne?
Yeah.
Wenn
The sun has to be in a apparent position on a flat Earth. I'm assuming this guy's hot micing. Yeah, but the point is, like, this is not, if you just take the 24-hour sun out of the picture, right? Like, the sun still goes in different directions. It still sets in different directions. There are many things that show you that on a flat Earth, the sun can't be in an actual position. But this is the thing, right? Like, I'm able to look at the preponderance of evidence and understand that what your side claims about the sky is retarded and easily disproven, right? Like, everything you believe about the sky is wrong. So I'm supposed to believe that you're wrong about everything in the sky, but you're right about all of it when it comes to like the sun as observed from Earth. Why would I believe that? You're wrong about everything. Your side's literally wrong about everything. Can't explain anything in the sky. So why would I believe that you know exactly how the sky works?
We can predict lunar eclipses and solar path of totality for.
So can we.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah, we can. Which is why Shane got $10,000.
That's not why. We've been over this. I actually asked Morty. I can get a quote for you, but the reason and appealing to somebody got paid is that's a fallacy.
No. Appealing to him making the prediction.
That's crazy.
The reason why Morty lost is because Morty didn't specify that Shane couldn't use the globe. Shane used the globe. Morty said, "All right, I didn't specify that, so I'll pay up." That is absolutely true.
No. Shane just went and did it and took that out anyway and still made the prediction.
All right, post Shane's prediction. I'll
No,
show you.
you
what
go, dude. No.
It's funny because you guys say we can predict it, and then you appeal to something Shane did once, and then when we say, "Well, show it to
Y'all
us,"
don't ever
you're
cite
like,
your
"No,
sources. Good
somebody
point.
won a bet. Why do I need to show you
The
what he
last
did?
time,
He
do you
won
want
a
to bet
bet.
on
There's
this?
nothing
Do you want to
to
bet
see
on
here.
this?
Nothing to see here, guys.
Do you want to bet on this? Do you want to bet that
They-
Shane took out the piece of information and still showed the prediction? Do you want to bet on it?
Yeah. How
Yes,
confident are you?
Yes,
I'll
I want to bet Witsit that he is using globe measurements.
Didn't
We're not
NASA
going to make
use
some.
flat
We're not going
measurements
to say some
first?
vague term.
Predict the eclipse.
Whenever there was
No
like a
globe.
period,
If he
there was,
doesn't use
there
the
was
globe,
okay, guys, I'm
I
gonna
know
go
how
eat now because you
frustrated
can't
elements
control
work.
yourselves. You're like children. You can't control
Yeah,
yourself.
you should check out the narrow stream. What's it?
Dude,
It's in
you were
here.
just
It's a
about to win a
room.
bet.
There's no debates about the Earth. It's super. You don't get
he wants to bet
interrogated.
and then runs away from the bet.
Can
Has
you
nothing
shut
to do
up?
with the,
Witsit, I
listen,
know.
here's
I
the
know
deal,
how
buddy.
frustrated
Here's the
Y'all,
deal,
he's
buddy.
just being
Here's the deal, buddy.
interrogated by multiple
It-
people. Can you
not
not
even about
understand that?
It's just that they're insistently interrupting me. You know what I mean? Like none of them can control themselves at all. But it's all good. It's like I need to eat anyway. But like I'll come back.
I can't find one
I'm not
person that
interested
can
in
control themselves in a convo. Like I'm not trying to
Yeah, it's
meet
crazy.
people.
They're freaking out. So, but I need to eat anyway. I mean, I'll stay in here, but I'm about to not be talking for a second. So.
Okay, enjoy. Yeah, but yeah, like Taylor said, there's the narrow stream. You're always welcome to join there as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna head in there. Are you gonna stream anything today, Eden?
Yeah.
We watched some
thanks,
pretty
Sarah, I
cool
will.
things. We watched some scientific documentaries on near-death experiences, like the proof of them, and then we watched what was the other one, like Universe Designed, and it just showed like all the evidence, that it's not an accident.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
miraculous
and then we've been
healings.
watching cases of like documented miracles, like where people, share miraculous events. And I think there's a good documentary on medical miracles that were documented too. I could try to find that's like doctors. There is a doctor who wrote a book on them, and like with scans and stuff like that. I can try to find it online, but people just having like, unexplainable things, disappear from their body and stuff. It's really cool. There's a lot of evidence out there, not just a big accident. So yeah, the narrow stream, we've been streaming them like every day at like 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Very cool.
Yeah, and we'll be streaming another movie there today, maybe 1 or 2. So yeah, it'd be great if you're there. Anybody here, you're more than welcome. We'd love you there, and thanks for being here.
So that's like a VC in here.
Yeah,
It's in this
I've
channel.
got 2 streams going right now. So like the other stream, narrow, it's the narrow gate, wide gate. It's more of a play on terms. So the narrow gate, a little bit more behaved. It's expected people would behave themselves a little bit better, and it's about theology and spirit and topics like
cool.
that.
I see. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, like last thing I'll say real fast, like I'm not claiming to know exactly how the sky works, right? But I personally don't care at all if it triggers people that I still think the Earth is flat, bro. Like, why? It's weird that you're triggered. So, but I'll present some of the alternative explanations on my stream where I can do it uninterrupted, But that's just my genuine position. You would have to think it's a huge coincidence. Like another thing that Piezo was just explaining to me is like when you look at a physicist looked at Nicholas Morley, Dayton Miller, and then a more modern replication of it. And if you look at what they say, like even all the way back to Dayton Miller, he pointed out that you have the correlation of the fringe shift that's measured based on the maximum minimums correlating to the autumn and spring equinoxes, and that it looked like the measured speed, right, if you calculate it and translate it over, comes from a constellation down by the Southern Cross. And it's just very interesting, right, because it correlates to all the other data, and it looks like there's literally like it's like a source of some type of motion coming towards us from a constellation, almost like in that framework it's an ether wind, and like all of the data perfectly corresponds. And yeah, I mean, this just like it all compiles to make sense on a stationary plane. This is why I still don't understand what Jaren's doing, to be honest.
Would you agree? So I just shared a stream. I know you're trying to run Eat, but I've built a tool that I think is useful. And I spoke with New Perspective, Dave, a little while back about trying to make sure I'm not straw manning his model. I think I got it pretty good, and there seem to be tremendous problems with the way light behaves.
Like what?
I know that he's acknowledged it. Well, I'm sharing the stream. You can see it, Taylor. But the light, what we do is we take the globe, right, and we project it onto this, as every projection of a map is of a globe. So what we do is we take the data that we receive. By the way, this is all open source, and everything is calculated on your machine, with the exception of like sunspots and a couple of other things it pulls from external sources. But this is the way that light. You can check this this app out yourself. I'll drop the link in the wide chat. I've had it for a little while now, but I would encourage people to play around with it and see if they find any inaccuracies. But the light is what the light is, and on the dual pole model, the light sort of bends. If you're watching right now, it has this weird pattern where it kind of flip flops from a sphere of darkness, and then it sort of bends itself back into a sphere of brightness. Of course, it's based on the time of year. It does different patterns if it's, at the solstice versus the equinox, etc. But those are problems that I think are inherent in every flat Earth map. But in particular, this map seems to be sort of an extra layer of problems, in my opinion, just with trying to figure out how it is that we could see light do this, like this very strange transition between darkness sphere and a brightness sphere.
Yeah, that does look crazy, right? Like,
so yeah.
That
So 'cause you
doesn't
have
even
the
look
you have
like his
this.
model. I'll do a side by side because the continents and the shape, that looks
Well, it's
like
a little
not a
different,
good
but I do think
representation.
Antarctica. So, and obviously Antarctica is not 3 times as small as the little Chihuahua over here that is Australia, right? Like there are some problems that don't that I haven't been able to actually get rectified. I sort of put it on a shelf because I got it. Basically, if you watch how the sun and the moon behave, the moon's a little bit different, but the sun behaves the way that that Dave has stated, in the sense that it will switch tracks, halfway through the year. Otherwise, it does its business up here for half the year and does its business down here for the other half of the year. So I'm kind of proud of the fact that that works, but
So it only doesn't work at this time of the year. Whenever the sun is passing over.
No, the light behavior is strange throughout. I mean, we can play around with, I can do 24 hours a second, and throughout the year, I mean, just the sun's gonna oscillate between circling this, and then it will circle this when it's the other part of the year. Yeah, let's do 1 month at a time. So now you can see here. I'll slow it down. Now you can see that the sun's there. I skipped ahead pretty quickly. The sun's.
Why is it stretching?
Half. I'll slow it down. Ask me your question.
Have you seen little GIF on it?
Yeah, I think I responded with a demonstration of this to your post a little bit ago, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay, I need to find the GIF, but so you're saying like different regions in his our E1's portrayal, like he shows like darkness in a place there should be light at that time of year, or some vice versa.
Say that one more time, Taylor. I'm sorry.
Like you're saying, like it doesn't match up with what we actually see, like the known.
The way the light is weird, right? Like the way that the sun, like for example, right here, why is the sun able to do this? Why? Do you see what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really make sense unless it's like a Pac-Man map or something, right? Where it's like going out and coming back in this way. And I'm not saying that to be rude, but I'm just saying I don't understand where the out.
Wasn't that always
source?
Wasn't that always explained? Wasn't that always explained because the farther south it gets, the closer to the firmament, so it makes that coffee cup caustic type of reflection? Wasn't that the reason why? Then the light kind of bounces off, and then it makes a ring around that way. That's why you can see the light so much further as it's further south.
We can talk about that, but when it makes this weird S, like when it gets to the right here, when it starts to bend, I'm not aware of like that little S right there kind of continues to bend and behave this way. Like, I think we're talking about a different phenomenon if this is the true map, right? I don't think even Dave would say that this is the map, as it sits right now. There are problems that he's aware of that he's been trying to work out with other people. And so, but even to get it close, right? I think this is a major, like, let's scratch our heads and sort of try to figure out this light behavior problem really before we commit a lot more time. And in my opinion, right? I'm not telling people how to spend their time, but I would call this a major problem that needs addressing before we really kind of move on to step 2.
Well, maybe the sun is not like the only light source.
That's the point, right? Like, so maybe we look for a different light source, or maybe we talk about how that would work. Why would the light source up here right now bend in this sort of, this? It seems like it would be symmetrical in a way, the way that it's actually happening, to where an external light source just overcomplicates the problem even more than actually trying to take the time to figure out sort of the mechanism that seems to come from this single light source. I think.
And say if, like, I'm saying, biblical shows that there was light before there was sun.
Light before the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sun was made on the 4th day.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely so God divided the light over the face of the earth. I think that there's definitely places that are designated to be day and nighttime, like ordained by God. I don't know if it's dome dynamics. I don't know how he divided the light and the dark. But there's definitely season time even before the sun was ruling over the day. So it seems like he drew out the boundary line for day and night.
I mean, we even divide the name of it. So we have daylight and we have sunlight, and then we define daylight as a cool white light and sunlight as a warm yellow light.
If daylight is a cool white light, then what's moonlight?
Moonlight.
I mean, coolness refers to the essentially color, like temperature of light.
Yeah, it's like a light.
Kelvin.
Like, yeah, it's not actually about heat. It's about like the color on the color spectrum.
I think the warm light is what, 3,000 and below.
Yeah. Like warm light is more on the red spectrum, and then cool light gets to more like blue and white type stuff.
I think it's 4,500.
But it has nothing to do with temperature.
Cool light is 4,500 and light up, I believe.
Yeah.
So it would just be coincidence that the daylight always precedes the sunlight, and always trails the sunlight at sunset.
Yeah, well, the sun was made to rule the day.
I mean, that would explain why, because there's light maybe from another source other than the sun, and I don't claim to explain it or understand it, but that's what it would infer.
I mean, well, the thing is that when if you go to a 3D app and have one light, let's say they have a box in the middle, and you have one sunlight, one light source, you won't be able to see all 4 sides of that box. Now, an ambient light, definitely, and I don't know if you ever been in photography or anything, you need more than one light at all times. Even in those apps, you need an ambient light to be able to capture all 4 sides of that light. And then you have the hard light, the sunlight, which gives you hard shadows. Matter of fact, you actually see this when the sun hasn't come up. You go to a house, or you look at your house, you look at all 4 sides of your house, you see the light. If it was only one source, you wouldn't be able to see that. And there's actually a 12 o'clock shadow underneath all items. If you look at past when it's the sun is like about to set or rising, if you look at underneath cars, where's that 12 o'clock shadow coming from? There has to be a light source above it to cast a shadow. It is a diffuse shadow because, again, it's practically covering the whole sky.
But would you agree that like sort of this light behavior is I mean, again, I'm just reporting what it is. You can call people, right? You can say, hey, is it dark? Is it bright? Like the light is behaving in the same way on this map. You can trace it and see that it is what is reflected on the globe, which I think everyone would agree that, maybe there are people that are, I'm not sure how APOC feels or Elbow, but like, do you guys agree that projections like this and the Gleason and what have you are taken from what, what whether or not it's a lie, right? What we say it is based on like timeanddate.com, for example, or the way that it can be projected in different software that might be, not have the right globe or whatever. Like you would agree that the light is behaving in the pattern that we say. Like there's not going to be a place on Earth where it's bright and it says it's dark or whatever based on our programs.
It is. I mean, all the other maps are projection off the globe, right? So.
Right. Okay. So, and with that being the case, right, if we're taking that position, then I do think that it requires an explanation on if, agreeing that the light is behaving the way that we see it, then, this might, it does require explanation, I think, for any map that's going to be quote unquote the map that's working, like as we get there in the future sort of thing from the flat Earth side. I think it's
what do you mean it requires explanation?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about science, right, we're talking about trying to understand the mechanism. Now, if we're talking about it being biblically whatever, I can't really argue against that. I do think that everything in reality, or most things, right, there are things obviously in faraway galaxies and stuff that need explanation, but I think we understand, things within our realm to a pretty good, we can at least explain it with mechanisms that build upon one another.
I would disagree fully on that. I think if you mean we have a good understanding of the narrative, then yeah, maybe that behind that, and they tell you this is what is. They can't prove that. They could theorize it and they could calculate it, but that's why many years ago, Trulin, what you're showing right now on screen is just a mathematical construct on software, and you're putting datum points. Now, Trulin, he had 5 different worlds, different shapes, using the same datum points, and he proved that you can take datum, like you can take math, and you can configure it, and it works. But it doesn't mean that that's what it is, because you don't know it to be that or the other, because it's just math being plotted. So if you're saying we understand the narrative, then you're right. We can, this whole model behind heliocentrism, how it's been calculated, theorized, and formulated, and they're saying this is what is in that world, in that paradigm. You might be right. Yeah, we fully understand that. But then, even within that argument, there's a lot of things that scientists have had to go back to the drawing board for, because they're like, yeah, that doesn't work. So then they go back, and then you guys go, well, that's good science. And I'm saying, no, they're just sharpening the pseudoscience, because it's not even science to begin with, because you can't prove that or falsify it. You just have to believe it. Go ahead.
The globe was made out of a celestial dome, right? I mean, it's a celestial sphere, right? If I'm not mistaken.
From like geocentrism, you mean?
Yeah. The whole globe model is made out of a celestial sphere.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you're following the celestial sphere and saying, yeah, it looks just like this because the celestial sphere tells me that it looks like that, not because we actually modeled the globe.
What I'm saying, you guys, it's a celestial hemisphere, right?
Yeah, and basically what I'm saying here is that our model has predictive power, and we has explanatory. We can explain how the mechanism works. We can show that, for example, like when you zoom way out, here's the sun, right? And the sun is gonna shine on this part of the moon. I'm sorry, on this part of the Earth at different times of the year, and the moon is always gonna reflect in the same. It's gonna have the same pattern as the Earth in terms of like, we can just explain these things. Like we can hold a tennis ball up and see that the daytime moon is casting the same shadow as the tennis ball that we hold up when we're looking at it in the same lens, for example. And we can kind of make the geometry work. You might say it's a mathematical construct, what have you, sure. But things like this, when we're facing what I would consider a problem of being able to explain a mechanism, You know, I think there's gonna have to be a lot of weird reflective properties going on in something like this. You're basically doubling the amount of problems, in my opinion, if it is this exact
basically,
model, right?
Can I get in quick?
Yeah.
On your screen, the left side is basically has an explanation that has never been proven, and on the right side, there's no explanation.
Well,
right? We don't know which one's.
If you're using
well,
proof in like a loose sense.
Like, but what I mean by not having any proof is, like, for instance, they make claims that the sun is 93 million miles away and made of blah blah blah. None of this has been actually confirmed, right? It's all just presupposed with, like, probabilistically likely, blah blah blah, this and that. But it's no actual proof. They didn't send a probe to the sun and get a sample of hydrogen and helium, and it came back and somehow didn't magically burn or whatever. I mean, you could apply this to any celestial object, right? But the point is, in terms of predictive power, you're just looking at the recent history, right? Because the globe itself was based off of flat Earth observations, data points that they collected before, right? So you could say that the flat Earth kind of conception that they had with the celestial globe, or celestial sphere, that had predictive power. And you're just looking at the thing that they made out of that without recognizing the original thing.
Well, I mean, I would say that when you're talking about proof, like I think you might have been using it colloquially. So I would agree that, well, I would disagree with you that we have a model that works, right? We're what we do in science, and I think you would agree with this, and I think most people would, is that when we're looking at competing models, and we can resort to, well, flat Earth never claims a model, that's fine. But when we have models on the table, we look at the one that has better explanatory power and makes useful predictions, right? And so all I'm saying is, like, when we put forward the globe model, when we put forward something like this, where we can understand the orbit, we can understand how the tilt of the Earth creates the seasons, and the moon does its revolutions, what have you, and it works, right? Based on the geometry, we can create models and Celestia or Stellarium or whatever, right? We can't really find flaws in the overall sense. There might be little things that are off here and there. But I think overall, right, I think people would say it seems to work in the way that they're showing it. I'm not saying it's reality, but we go with the model that works, right? Like, I think that's what most people would say.
Well, the model that worked before was the flat Earth model. Essentially, the Chaldeans used to freaking.
It never fucking worked.
Hold on, what are you talking about? Because
Stop
the Chaldeans actually predicted freaking the solar cycles and so many other things, and actually and definitely looked at the sky, and they always had the flat Earth model at basis, so it did have work. What are you talking about?
Well,
never worked. Ever.
Can it predict the path of totality for solar eclipses?
That's just cognitive dissonance.
But it's funny though, because I mean the path of totality is actually calculated after the Chaldeans already predicted the word. And the solar cycles is still being used by NASA. So why are you saying?
The real reason the model's so rigorous is because of telecommunication. The instant telecommunication that we have today, the sharing of data points and ideas and what have you, and information. If they had that back when everyone believed that it was a flat, they would still be able to record and post dict, if you will, the different places where the sun rises, the times that they rise, and so same and so for the moon and the stars and everything like that. They'd all the eclipses and all of that would be recorded, and they could share the exact latitude, longitude, or whatever, depending on whatever system that you want to mapping system you want to use, and they would be able to post dict them. So it's not really necessary to have a globe. You have the celestial sphere, latitude, longitude from that, and have the database that's just like easily transmitted, conveyed the information by way of telecommunication. That's the real game changer.
When you read, like, the Polynesians traveled like over 2,000 miles and found their way back just using stars and without the concept of it being a globe, and they were spot on. I mean, without the technology that we have today, that's pretty impressive that they used to do that. And for anyone to argue against that, it's just like, dude, it's just cog dis, man. You're lost. Because they did do that.
Riggs, do you mind if whoever muted Robert. I need to step away for a minute, but I think he had something he wanted to add to the conversation. I guess I can kind of I heard what you guys are saying, and I'm on board with it. But do you guys looking at this, do you think that something like this behavior with light, does that dissuade you, or does that do anything for you in terms of like this being the working model that we can get correct, or do you think it's a bigger problem and let's look at other solutions?
It's demented to think that the sun and moon make this little dip and, have this forward motion, retrograde motion, whatever, and slow down over the center and then speed up over the water, as if like ships wouldn't be able to see that it's going a lot faster or something like that. No, it doesn't work.
Do you have thoughts? I'm sorry. Do you have thoughts, Elbow or APOC? Like, I appreciate you, percent guy.
Humans can barely, and what I mean by barely is almost non-accurately or non-existently predict or state the movement of things from a distance, let alone from a close vicinity, without any measuring tools, just with your bare naked eye. Let alone that they can accurately tell me if the sun can or can't do that. That's a bit insane, right? We're not computers. We don't have that capacity. Maybe individuals who are a bit more, their brains are a bit different and just do weird things and they just see numbers and calculations everywhere. Sure, maybe they can do them, but an average Joe Schmo that's on the sea that you're claiming can see that there's a difference, that it's not doing that. That's insane. You don't know how fast the sun is actually moving in the sky.
Hey,
I mean, it seems pretty consistent.
Yeah, Icy Spin, thank you for doing this, man. I know it took a lot of time, but it looks really cool. I'm wondering if you could add, like, I think it's the 4th model now, but add either, well, maybe Joe Hanvey's and the Kaleidoscope model to this, please, next time.
Yeah, maybe I can chat with Hanvey whenever he wants to pop back in here. I know he's here and there, but I don't know. But I know you're kind of talking tongue in cheek, but I don't know what would be different about his versus the Gleason. I guess we would have to go over sort of, because Witsit had made a comment that it was updated or different, and there was a better working solution, I guess. And maybe
Yeah, no,
that,
I definitely, I mean, like, Hanvey did it, before TFE, so I'm curious what updates he's made, so I'll have to go back and look and see if he has any updates, or at least get him in Discord to see. Because I thought at last he was still using the Gleason's map.
Yo, if we're making requests, can you model out my Flat Earth map? My model?
Yeah. Send me
it's like basically the orthograph map with, obviously Flat Earth with.
I mean, I've got some other ones in here too, but they're basically, I'll do all of them. Sort of slows down with the processing power. But yeah, I mean, it's basically going to be these ones that I think most people would just be like, okay, we've seen that. Like, for example, Mercator, if you go to timeanddate.com, I think this might be the thing that pops up, but the sign pattern, the sine wave that's going to be existent in most of these. This one is a little bit interesting. And there are different ways of presenting this. But again, when we're looking at projections, it seems to be inherent in everything that I've seen is that there's very, obviously we understand why the light, or at least I think people would understand like why the sine wave is like this when we're looking at what's clearly not the map that any of us are claiming. At least I don't think they are, but the Mercator, the equirectangular anyways, but the Mulwade, I don't know exactly how you call it, but there are like where people say that, well, wherever you are, for example, I'm in North Florida, if I like were to double click here, like it will morph into making this the center, right? And then we can explain sort of everything from our center. I think this is the sort of map that they use for that. And then I just don't buy that. I can't. It's like everyone has a different reality. Now we're getting into like some I don't know if it's metaphysics or what, but like we're kind of like zooming out and like let's talk about the bigger picture when we're just discussing the geometry of how light behaves and what I'm asking at least anyways. So But yeah, if you want to send me a DM, if you were being serious, if you have any details or can give me materials, I'll try to add it.
Yeah, I mean the reason I specified orthograph is because they say it's like the most accurate, like to scale map, you know, in terms of like land masses or what have you. So, but anyways, I was gonna say the orthograph map with like wraparound, Pac-Man, if you will, and center, like with the center being the Holy Lands. You know, like the Middle East.
Are you aware of
the center of the map?
His Holy Lands have 7 heavens, just FYI. You need to make room.
That's wrong.
Are you aware of Awake Souls, like Jason and Ronnie? They've had several iterations. I think they're using the Mulwade projection now, but they used to have a dual pole. They had a tripole model before, but then I think they settled on a dual pole that they were talking about forever, and it has
with wraparound.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. Give me a few minutes, and I'll post it in the chat.
But if it doesn't have wraparound,
it is a pack. I mean, people joke, like whenever we watch an Awake Souls stream or whenever they come up, like they are the Pac-Man bros, right? Like as it were, because they do talk about the SVB. I think it's the SVBR. Or someone can correct me on the way it's spelled.
Supernatural, biblical, virtual reality.
Yeah, yes. SBVR. Thank you. That's right. What's up, Max? Sorry. But yes, they actually say we live in a virtual reality, right? And so basically, sort of anything goes. For example, they talk about the sun setting into the dirt, basically, and coming back from out of the dirt on the other side. They have some strange views, but. Yeah, they have no problem with Pac-Man. They don't like it being called a Pac-Man.
The ringing like a bell thing. I was wondering the same thing, if they would, you know, sense the dust plume, since it would be, you know, not kind of hidden by the light of the moon itself. And it was seen. I was seen with spectrometer instrument on the telescope down in the southern hemisphere. I can't remember the name of it now. But the other thing about it was, let's see, what you were just saying something else, Riggs, and I was going to respond to that. The ringing like a bell. The ringing like a bell thing. I was wondering the same thing, if they would, you know, sense it with the seismometers, but it turns out we haven't had active seismometers on the moon now for about 40 years. So they were turned off in the 70s or gave up or something.
Nice story.
The crater has already been imaged by a Korean lunar orbiter, and it'll be imaged on Wednesday by the Lunar Reconnaissance Observatory, even though it'll be night at the time. I was reading about LRO. LRO actually makes images in full darkness on the moon. It has a laser thing it uses, and then it uses sensors to get the ground profile even when it can't see it. They're basically you know, kind of a sonar. It's not sonar, obviously, but some kind of a ranging thing. But at the end of August, it'll get a nice picture of the crater in full light, and it'll be a better picture than the picture the Korean orbiter has already taken.
You're not talking about North Korea, are you?
No, South Korea has a lunar orbiter. There are lots of lunar orbiters now, different countries, and Korea doesn't take as good a picture as LRO, but they have a picture that clearly shows it.
Which you can validate.
Sorry?
All of that stuff is unvalidatable.
Side by side, because the continents and the shape.
Give us the fire, Dave. We need the fire. All these retired slowpokes ain't talking.
We got new perspective. We got
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
You know, I've been hoping that E1 guy would pop in one day. Like to pick his brain on
You should read the AI summary I just sent you. I joined so I could leave the comment that I just left.
Oh, okay.
Did you see it in the wide chat? But I mean, I'm doing some yard work, but
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I got you. I see this. I appreciate that summary. Okay, I got these. I'm gonna save these.
yeah, the AI Shane probably didn't want to watch all the videos. I'm getting feedback from somewhere. I'm getting like an echo. Is that just me? Somebody's mic. Okay, now it's better.
I don't think. Yeah, you sound
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. For some reason, I was getting feedback for a minute. Someone must have muted it up. But yeah, the Shane probably didn't want to watch all the E1 vids because I sent it to him like, he didn't watch any of them for a long time. And then they started doing their conceptual model with the Claude, and they saw that the dual pole kind of has some advantages, or at least I think Alan said that he likes Antarctica being its own continent now after looking at that. And then they kind of I just let them take their time, and I think they both kind of give it more credit than they wanted to at first, thinking that it was just the way the AE model has it set up, whatever. But they're not. It's not the thing about E1s is what's not a transform of the globe, so it's gonna be hard to do a transform of the globe and make it work exactly the way he has it. He just did the GPS of the stars straight from the Nautical Almanac, and use those star wheels, which is actually the last time I talked to him, I think it was last week. He said they use those Weems and Platt star wheels for something. He was saying that some professional organization of some sort was using those wheels. Weems and Platt is like the go-to nautical company for information, and you hardly ever see the actual stars in wheels like that. And they have the north on one side and the south on the other, so you can't put them next to each other the way he made his custom wheels. And maybe that's intentional, so you wouldn't get the idea that it's two star systems, funneling in on themselves that are next to each other, not on the opposite sides of a ball. It doesn't even work that way. Electromagnetic fields wouldn't work on a ball either. So it's like a total package, globe debunk and solution to the GPS and the sun GPS and all that. But he didn't even know about TFE. It wasn't a reaction to that. People have that assumption because, it's after TFE, and people think, oh, you're just coming up with something because TFE. He already knew there was a 24-hour sun in the south before I even told him about TFE. He doesn't pay attention to any flat Earth stuff. He just went for a couple of years and just studied the stars. He already knew the stars better than anyone I've ever talked to. But he studied celestial navigation, and then he came up with his own little custom way of figuring out how to get the fix for the stars, and explained it to Bacon. And Bacon at first was very skeptical, and Bacon eventually understood what he was saying. And so I don't know if there's something he's gone through it, and there's videos of him showing how to do it.
All he needs to do with that is take someone to give him coordinates and him be able to tell them where they're at.
Yeah, there was some back and forth with Bacon and him about the McToon challenge or doing it like that. And he said he can't do the way that they're requesting the McToon or whatever to have the positions, and then he reverse engineered a way of getting a fix and getting the position relative to other stars using the Weems and Platt and all that. But he's not able to do the whatever McToon's challenge is, because that's kind of based on the globe anyway. It's kind of fixed with the ephemeris and the way that they reverse engineered the globe to be this ball around you. So it kind of has to work that way with the different interpretations of what declination is and all that. So he's unfamiliar with kind of the classical way of doing it, but he just kind of went bare bones and figured it out on his own, and it works for him, and it works for his map and his wheels that he made using the Weems and Platt. And then the 33-degree correction of the prime meridian was key, because he came up with pretty much the dual pole transform looking model or layout for the continents, and he didn't even know that those existed, because I started sending him the dual pole azimuthal transform, and he was like, oh my god, that's exactly what I have, pretty much. And then he realized that there was a 33-degree correction they made when the Admiralty switched everything over to Greenwich. And Greenwich is like, fine, you can have an arbitrary starting point for the start of Aries, and you can still, read everything with the circling around, and it all works pretty much the same. It's going to be 30 degrees off about for anyone that's trying to independently navigate on their own, which might have been the intention. Let me put his AI summary that Shane fed the videos in the chat. So if anyone wants to read the summary, that's a good way to get the gist instead of trying to sit through all the videos. I'll put it in the widescreen under his under the graphic I did for his stuff. Yeah, he knows how to use a computer, but he just likes to do everything by hand now. So I have to make all the graphics for it. He doesn't care to push the model or cares if anyone agrees with him. He's not out to be like, I'm the tool. I figured out the dual pole. He's not like that at all. He would probably not have even made the videos if I hadn't pressed him to do it. Which is good though, because if you start pushing it and being like, oh, we got the solution, then the dual pole flat Earth would be like even more so rejected by flat Earthers that go into CogDis when you show them it. For some reason, flat Earthers hate it even more than Glovers to begin with sometimes. Glovers hate it because it works.
Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say the ones that hate it are the ones that don't like to look into like maps and models and things like that.
Maybe. Or they've got the mantra of like, don't look at the sky to determine anything about the ground, when that's not necessarily the case. You can use the sky to figure. I mean, if the stars are that consistent, which they are.
Did you say the dual pole worked? We don't like it because it worked.
Some people like it solves some of the problems that they were strawmanning the AE map with the 24-hour sun, at least for sure, and the opposite rotating southern stars. You've seen it, right, Lafang? You've seen the stuff I posted by E1, right?
Yeah, I don't really see anything that works though.
Well, what is your criticism of it? If you look at how it's supposed to work and all that, or
You just have two observers on different parts of the Earth and what they see, and it completely disagrees with everything.
Oh, did you test that? I'd like to see your results. Post it for me. What your criticism was?
I could just see it with my eyeballs. I could just see it.
Oh,
You
okay.
put a guy in Texas, and you put a guy in
everything else. So
you put a guy in Texas, and you put a guy in Japan, and it's completely wrong.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I don't really trust your opinion on other things, so maybe I'll just take that.
It's just geometry, man. Just geometry.
Okay.
Where you see
Tell me what
things.
you're talking about. I'd be happy to look at it. I'm sure E1 will too. He's not looking to like hope people believe him or hope people just accept it. He wants actual, people to look at it and debunk it if you can. It's totally falsifiable. If he's got the GPS of the stars going over a certain part of the continent in the south and a certain part in the north, and those are synced up, and they have to be like if I was in North America and I was getting a fix on a star, that I was going to look at the zenith of the star right above me, and then call somebody in Australia and see if his wheels are aligning where that star should be, because they're like cogs. They move like cogs in like a wheel, and then that would be a way of falsifying it. Those kind of tests. Thinking about the angles and then having it like be like a globe in your mind, like solidified. Yeah, you're not gonna think it works, of course. If you're convinced it's a globe, you're probably gonna just like turn down anything flat Earth.
If you were to hand him photographs of your night sky at your location, let's say 5 photographs, one east, south, west, and north, and one directly up, could he use his system to find out where you're at if you told him what time you took the photograph?
That's kind of the same question that Lefling was talking about, and it's kind of like the McToon challenge a little bit, a variation of that you're talking about. is that what your concept is? I wouldn't be able to answer for him. It's not my model.
I mean, if you can't do that, then it's not useful, I guess.
Oh, I wouldn't say he couldn't. I'm just saying that I can't answer for him. You'll have to like write down the whole question and I'll send it to him. Come back with an answer for you. Type it out. All right, there's that, and then I'll post the underneath that. I'll post the dual pole AI summary that Shane got back from feeding all the videos to it. And I've had people that are totally like Ben's totally into the dual pole E1 stuff, and he said I didn't really even get it until I read that, and it does a great job of summarizing it. It makes way more sense than I thought it did. Glovers will start talking up the AE map as if it has like some merit when you show them the dual pole stuff, because they're like, no. Yeah, the AE is the only possible flat earth thing. That's the only one. We want the straw man. Don't take straw man away from us. That would suck. What was all that TFE shit for then? But yeah, it's a lot to read, but it's actually, if you want to get a gist of what he's talking about or make any criticisms, you should be familiar with that AI summary maybe first. I mean, every model is a conceptual model anyway. It's not, there's no model that can say it is what reality is, because the menu is not the food. The map is not the territory. That has to just be understood. You can come up with the best working concept that fits with all the data. The way to actually really debunk his thing, because I think the GPs of the stars, he just went by that nautical almanac, so those should be correct. And if it goes by the Weems and Plass official outline of it for the north and the south, and that should be right for that. The way to actually debunk it is the way that the southern and the northern stars run parallel through the celestial equator. If you could somehow get to the middle of the blue side of the ball where like Point Nemo is, where they're going to crash the ISS, which is supposed to be like more distant from most people in the world than they are from the ISS now. That's how like remote this little area in the middle of that blue side of the ball that they show us, which for the dual pole would be in the outskirts. It would be like oceans surrounding all the continents, and then they wrapped everything back like a comb over, and then pinned it in the back. So the international date line only goes halfway down in quotes from the south and up from north in quotes from the north, and then the international date line actually doesn't actually connect together. Would be the way that they made it seem like a ball if the dual pole is correct. And then it wouldn't go, the celestial equator just goes straight across the middle. It doesn't go around the ball like the ball creators made you think it did. They made it seem like a ball if the dual pole is correct. And then it wouldn't go, the celestial equator just goes straight across the middle. It doesn't go around the ball like the ball creators made you think it did. But if you could get to the middle of that, the 0 degrees north and south, and then see those stars run parallel there, as well as just like they do with celestial equator, they converge and then run parallel through the celestial equator and then diverge. That debunks the ball if that's actually happening, not just apparent. That debunks the ball on its own. And I don't know if they're converging and diverging through the celestial equator area, how they would ever run parallel on the other side anyway, if they're actually diverging. So, I mean, it just doesn't work for a ball. I mean, it's a great concept model. That's all it's ever been, though, my opinion. But it makes sense that everybody's like paying so much attention to it, because our reality, it kind of feels like everyone has to at least share like the basics of where we live for us to like have any kind of unity. So it makes sense that people want others to agree about it. But it's just been obvious. I mean, anybody that spends a good deal of time looking at this and they don't see that there's a whole reification thing going on with the glob, they're just like either incog or not wise enough to see it or whatever. I mean, I don't think that the whole world should find out that it's a flat Earth all at once, because that'd probably be like destruction of society. I don't want that. And that, you know, the best information isn't going to just come for free. Like when we were born, is it like there's some kind of like unwritten contract that we're supposed to be told the truth about everything? That would be silly. You know, I mean, if there's like a secret way into a concert, you know, like that little place that you know about, and you're going to let your friends in or the cool people, you know, you tell them about it. But not everybody. If everybody knows about the secret way to get into the concert without paying, then it's not a secret way anymore, and they block it off. You know, I mean, that's the way information works. If information, you know, is powerful, if there's value to the information, then of course there's going to be two interpretations. The esoteric and the exoteric is how they do that. That's like conspiracy 101. And most people, maybe because of the schooling and the, you know, intentional dumbing down, don't even care. Wouldn't even, you know, think more about it than, you know, than just a brief acknowledgement. But that could just be because we've been dumbed down and fed all these chemicals and whatever else, you know, culturally, you know, materialist, nihilist. A lot of that could be like the unfair, you know, way of like expecting people to just find this out. But like Issa says, what would you have to wake up from if they never lied to you? You know, that awakening experience and realizing that it's not a globe. There's no way to describe it. And it's kind of like something you kind of value, and maybe, you know, you wouldn't appreciate it unless it came this way, where you're like, oh, you're old enough, mature enough to see it. As a kid, if you were just told the truth about everything, and who knows if they even know the truth. But I don't like the option of like, you know, if the truth is that we're inside a firmament and God's watching your every move and whatever else, you know, I mean, maybe that is the truth. It doesn't seem like it to me. But if that's the version they gave us for the flat Earth, and it was all like, you know, dogmatic still, then that would suck almost worse than the space fantasy, you know, to be honest. Maybe there's a deal with the outer ponders. All right. You have a treaty protecting them from us and us from them. So they couldn't tell us the truth, but at least they gave us the space fantasy. I mean, I love Star Wars, so thanks for that at least. Maybe they don't know how to get out, or maybe there's nowhere else to go. I think there's probably a lot more land in this pound, though. Seems like there's a lot more land. That's definitely a good reason not to tell us about the flat Earth, if that's the case. That would be the best reason ever, right? Infinite resources? No, we can't have that. I wonder if they have like continents that they go to when they do the resets on the ones that we're in. You know, like maybe the resets are like half that the land masses just get like reset, and then they go to like the safe continents, and then they just like switch back and forth, take all the technology to one place and then the other, wipe it clean when necessary or just periodically. Did I cut out? Am I just talking to myself as I'm looking for these images? I guess that's a yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm just a bit busy.
Oh, okay. You can hear me. I just didn't know if I was not coming through at all. All right, I'll put the GIF I made for his dual pole sun, and then the explanation pasted from what he told me underneath it. For anyone that doesn't have any idea what I'm talking about with this dual pole stuff. But I talked to E. He'll come on and talk for sure. Maybe Briggs, if you go over that summary, come up with some questions, from reading that, maybe some things that you think people would want to know, or maybe pick a part or two out that you would want to have him explain in his own words or something like that. It's just like clockwork. It kind of freaked me out. Like if he's right, it's the electromagnetic field and like the precision of it, and it's just like, man, if he's right, then I don't know. I mean, he's not a Bible guy, or it has to be a creator guy. But people were talking in here earlier about whether there's a God or not, whether there's something like supernatural about this reality, and or if they're like finding out that there is a God would be confirmation of the supernatural. But that is not. If at least we know that everything is supernatural, everything has that essence of intelligence to it. Everything to some degree has that essence of intelligence, and it all works in symbiosis. That's proof of God right there. Even if everything just is God and there's no separate God, that's proof that there's a God. Even if everything is God, and I'm not trying to be, dogmatic about that idea. I'm just saying at least that could be the case, and maybe an outside God as well. But I think maybe the trick is to convince us that there's this outside God that we have no connection to, and we have to beg for, forgiveness from, or for anything that happens, we have to thank him for it. And we have no control over our own lives. It's only God that either grants it or doesn't. It's like if it is a psyop, I'm not saying it is, but if it is a psyop, that's the perfect way to write it, because these guys have like the special communication with God and could either grant you or deny you your prayers being, accepted or not accepted under their terms, or if it just want you to realize that everything is connected, and at least that's proof of God, and the connection is God, and we are one. And it's just this competition to get into heaven. Like I'm getting into heaven and you're not, you're going to hell. And that whole like mindset could be the psyop part of it. It doesn't mean there's no God. It doesn't mean there's no existence after this existence, but it makes it way more present and confirmed just by that we're supernatural beings. We everything is supernatural. The fact that it all coincides and has this essence of intelligence to it that is, unexplainable to a large degree. Um, and if it's all connecting on an unconscious level to have like one super intelligence, which kind of everyone, even Globers, kind of feel like that might be the case. Could you try to convince somebody that there's no universal consciousness? I don't think too many people would be convinced that for sure there's none, because we all kind of have a sense that there's some kind of universal consciousness where all of our, presence is accounted for in some kind of larger, um, you know, uh, awareness of sorts. I don't know if that's the case, but it seems like it. And then there's the Microzyma, which I think is a big thing. That's a huge thing. The Microzyma that Antoine Duchamp found, and he had this special microscope that he was using to actually see these things. And what it is that at the heart of every cell There's what he calls the Microzyma, and they're like, it's like this nodule of intelligent light at the center of every cell, and it can make the cell pleomorphic, meaning that the cell can become whatever it needs to be. So when a baby's being made in the womb or constructed, there's Microzyma that are making the lungs, some of them are making the heart, some of them are making the brain. It's all happening at once, and they have to be intelligently connected so that it's all happening at once in the right way. It can't just happen with like every individual little cell having its own, duty that is unconnected to the rest of everyone else's duty that's supposed to make this whole being. That's just like the microcosm of the Microzyma effect. And then on a larger scale, everything's connected as well. That doesn't make perfect sense. Of course, there's no proving that, but I think we all kind of sense that's the truth at least. God's within everything, even if it's a separate God. We're only here if there is a God because God created us and he had to put himself into us everything is God already then. Because if there was nothing before and God was like the only thing that existed, then everything's made from God. There's no outside material to make things from. So right there, the Bible even says everything's God. And then they've got this like, oh, you're a pantheist, it's like this whole negative campaign on pantheism when all it's really saying is everything's connected and that connection is at least God, right? At least in the way I interpret it. Then there's like another way of saying it where it's like the possibility for an outside God. It's pantheism, I think, like that. It doesn't matter. I just hate the dogma. I'm like anti-dogma, if nothing else. But the concept really makes sense. And if Microzyma are something that microscopic special microscopics can actually identify, like there's video of it. What's his name? Andy Kaufman's that special presentation that was like behind a paywall for a while. I can post it. I have it on my channel. But I was predicting he was going to talk about the Microzyma because he mentioned it, and all he talked about was the Microzyma and exactly what I'm telling you, which is that there's like this microscopic connection network of these things that can make a cell into whatever it needs to be, in symbiosis with all the other cells that are becoming what they need to be to make the human, to make the world, to make everything happen. That synchronicity and that intelligent connection is proof of the quote unquote supernatural. But it's just like natural. Anything natural is supernatural when you think about it. Somebody stop me. Somebody interrupt me. I'm just going to keep talking if no one else is. So yeah, that Microzyma, if that is the case, and it makes up everything, it's kind of like you think about it like the atom. Like maybe that they know there's connection between everything, but the exoteric version we got was there's little balls, little atom balls, that are bumping into each other, and Big Bang up to the atoms and the particles and all that interpretation of making it like this materialist way of seeing it. But the analogy or the concept of the atom like being the smallest part or whatever you want to call it, maybe the cork or whatever, with their different flavors and everything. Well, if it is Microzyma, instead of that, it's kind of the same concept, but it's just that at the heart of every cell, the Microzyma are that intelligent connection. And it would explain the whole thing about evolution. Like if there's a new species, that comes out of nowhere, maybe the Microzyma, in connection with all the other Microzyma in the world, we're able to, have a spontaneous generation of a whole species that needed to be that species for the system to continue the way it needed to, intelligently connecting everything and using that Microzyma pleomorphic power in some larger sense to create, a species out of, something that shouldn't be possible. Maybe other animals together that can't mate, or just, I don't know. There's something supernatural happening to some degree, or evolution is true, and there's not enough evidence to show that evolution is true, other than the micro evolution, like the adaptation and stuff. But no species to species evidence, and it doesn't even make sense that that would be the case anyway. It's as dumb as like thinking that Adam and Eve were the first, like the only two people on Earth, and everything came from that. It's the Adams and the Eves, in my opinion. That's the better translation of the Bible. It's a whole race of men, and then they made the women afterwards. That's what the Bible is supposedly, at least according to Michael Brenner. He went through 30 different texts of the Bible and saw that there's a, translation that it just totally overlooked or, forbidden or whatever, but it's Adams, a whole race of people, and they were made to work in the dirt, not from the dirt. Like there's just that one preposition is very important for what this whole thing is. That Elohim created the Adams, the Adamic race, to work in the dirt, and that was the second race of slave tribe people they made from actually cloning themselves, giving us dumbed down DNA or whatever, cloning it or crossbreeding us with regular animals, whatever the ape was, even maybe maybe we did come from monkeys, but we were part Elohim, whatever they are. Anyway, so they made the Adams to work as the agricultural race after the first race of beings they made to mine the gold, supposedly, as the story goes. And then they gave Adam a female counterpart and used the bone in the body for the stem cells, basically. It's not the rib, but they called it the rib. Misinterpreted it as a rib, I think. Maybe misdirection or just misread. But there's a bone that the Bible actually identifies, supposedly, where the Eves were created from, with this actual technology, like actual cloning technology, right? But they made a counterpart, a female counterpart for the Adams, and up until then, the Adams were having sex with the animals. In fact, they said that if you name an animal, that's like another way of saying you're having sex with it. To name the animal, I don't know. That's what he says. So thank God for if that is true, thank God for the cloning from that bone that they still identify to this day as where they get the stem cells from. That same bone. It's not the rib, but it's in the pelvic region, I think. So the Adams and the Eves makes a lot more sense. We're not all from just two people. That makes no sense at all. I'm sorry for the Bible believer. That never made any sense to me. Not even as a 5-year-old kid. I was just like, what? From two people? Or the brothers and sisters had sex? And what? How are we doing this? Why is it written that way? Is it written that way on purpose so that you can not I wonder if some of it's written kind of like with the globe. They can make these unfalsifiable, grandiose claims that you have to have faith in, right? You can't prove it. You can't know they're just light years, trillions of light years away from these stars. And it's almost like it's so out of the possibility that you would come up with it on your own that that it's created that way so that you have to have faith in science. They made science into a faith that way by making these unfalsifiable claims with this model, and then you have to people walking around saying, I believe in science. So a kind of direct result right there. I had too much coffee. I think Briggs was telling me to rip it up, so I'm trying. Riggs, are you still there? Are you even listening? If Riggs left, I'm gonna be mad. He's like, give it to us, Dave. Okay, you go ahead. I'm gonna be taking a nap. No, he's not even in here. Riggs. Is anybody else here? Am I not even talking to anybody right now?
You're just screaming into the void.
What's up, Cooper? I got a recording of you I just posted recently. Your name's in the title, in fact.
I'm sorry, what now?
I just posted a video of you talking earlier with Tank before what's her name came in, South Cat. You know, I get clips of all our conversation, anything I think is kind of interesting to listen to. I'll just hit record on my screen record and then post it on my channel for people that, you know, don't want to start searching for anything worth listening to between all the riffraff.
Who's Hank?
Tank. Weren't you talking to Tank earlier? Or somebody? I had you in the title. Let's see. I'll post a video with you in it.
Plasmatic. He's talking about Tank. You sound like you said Hank.
Yeah, Bioman, he goes by right now. Tank, yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that prick. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Oh no, not Bioman. I missed that. I was Tank earlier, wasn't it? You were talking to?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I was talking to Bioman yesterday, but a little bit.
Let's see. Oh, you were talking about Sin Cleanser. That's what it was. Sin Cleanser. I have a Sin Cleanser v Cooper. Here, I'll post this one.
Oh, is that like, you know, who we ended the combo on? Hey, you know, marry or religious couples have better sex. Is that guy?
No, I missed that part.
No.
Actually, some of it I was like falling asleep and I just hit record. So maybe it's in there. I wasn't actually actively listening.
Okay.
Here it is. Napalm at WWD with the Mox Real Balls. Sin Cleanser versus Cooper. And Bioman on Yahweh living on yet sacrifice. That's a good point actually he made, even though he was just being super critical. But yeah, if Jesus lives on, then what's the sacrifice? I've said that myself many times ever since I was a little kid. That never made sense to me either. And even if he gets ascended up to heaven, why is there a sacrifice? Why God sacrifice anything if he gets his Jesus back? I don't get the sacrifice thing. It's all metaphorical anyway, in my opinion. It doesn't make any sense. You know, it seems like if they were going to like for it to be the most popular religion, it should just make a lot more like logical common sense instead of having to like put your faith in the resurrection or any of that kind of stuff. Why does that even matter? If the word is like, you know, not if it's knowledgeable and, you know, helpful and whatever else. But people are like hung up on this has to be the resurrection. Otherwise, throw the whole Bible out. And they make it that way. Like if you don't believe in this part of it, then none of it's any good, which is silly. I mean, maybe that part's not true. And there's lots of wisdom in the Bible. But these people would miss out on that wisdom if they were, you know, not able to like get themselves to believe in this zombie Jesus part.
Yeah,
Whoever said something, you were a robot. Is that Cooper? Or is that me? Is he roboting or is that my connection? Anybody else here? Cooper, I think you're roboting unless it's my connection. Hey Donk, I liked your video, by the way, your sacred geometry flat earth video that you posted. That's a comment that I was going to send you the dual pole stuff, and I never did. You're here. Anyway, I don't know if anyone else is going to talk, but I don't know if I have a second wind in me. I kind of went off there a little bit there because Rig psyched me up for it, and he left. He wasn't even listening. Bastard. Oh, he says something broke. He got pulled away. What's he saying? It's something about, do you know that, do I know if show all channels is enabled? I don't know what that means. Click the server name. The drop down should have a trigger called show all channel. Anyway, Riggs is DMing me now. If anyone wants to bring up a topic or ask any questions about the dual pole stuff, I'll post all the videos in the chat for everybody here. They're unlisted right now because I'm going to make like a final version of it. Those are like straight screen record edits that I made in preparation for a larger piece and to get some feedback before, like, you know, the final version is put together. I guess I'll be posting my own conversation with myself here on my channel. No one else is going to talk. I might as well post my own rants, I guess. Or maybe I'll pick up some other conversation that happens after this. Yeah, I'll just put all the links for E1s, all the unlisted links. I'll just put in the live stream chat instead of sending them to everybody individually like I usually do. It's a little weird that everyone has like a cognizance about it as far as flat Earth goes, because it does have an answer for the 24-hour sun in the south. I'm sure that regardless if it's right or not, I'm sure that flat earthers are sick of hearing about this 24-hour sun debunk of flat Earth, and at least to give you this is a possibility, even if you don't agree with it or just want to hate it.
Cool.
But yeah, having a model is the thing. People don't like to have a model because we've been such model critics. Who was saying hello?
You guys all tuckered out from arguing with Witsit earlier.
Oh, what's it in here earlier?
Yeah, when I went to brunch, he was in here. So, like, let's say 2.5 hours ago.
I'll have to go back and catch that. Thanks for letting me know.
He was,
Yeah, he said
he was talking to
supports
things.
he supports the Gleason map, the Joe Hanvey Gleason map. So
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna have to
the new Kaleidoscope model.
You're gonna have to debate him and show how dual pole is superior to Gleason, because when he joins, flat earthers don't challenge him. They all suck up to him, all of them. There were 53 people in here.
I've sent him the dual pole stuff, and he said that, you know, that from the start I showed him E1's old model, and he was saying someone really put a lot of thought into this. It doesn't matter what one person thinks about any of it, you know. I mean, just take a look at the information. And, you know, I don't think there's any. I mean, if it works, it works. You know, as far as the stars and the sun and everything goes.
It's a dual pole kaleidoscope.
Yeah, does your dual pole have the kaleidoscope feature? Because that sounds really badass.
The Joe Hanvey stuff that he was talking about, yeah. I don't know why that's necessary. I haven't looked at his physical model yet. I do have links to his stuff, but I think he's working with the dome and there's a lot of that, possible firmament lighting stuff going on, even with the dual pole. That seems like that's part of an essential thing for the lighting to work, possibly. But the actual opposite direction of the sun, just being an illusion created by the dome or your personal dome of vision. I guess it's possible, but I don't think it's likely. We see the star trails, southern and northern star trail, and that's what we get. It's with the time elapse, And to say that just one half of it is an illusion, I guess that's possible, but I wouldn't assume that. Especially when at the celestial equator, it's like split in half. It's not like this outside dome effect.
No, that's too many words, bro.
Thing.
I think we're with Witsit on this one. Let's go Witsit.
I wouldn't guess that Witsit's decided on it being a certain way. Are you just saying that or what? I think you are. I don't care to fight anybody about it. Neither does E1. That's the beautiful thing about it. Just go ahead and debunk it. Look up the GPs, test it out with a friend in south and the north, and see if the Zenith works with his custom wheel.
Bro. He said he supports the Gleason map. You got to tell him that.
I don't care, dude. All in good time. Like I said it to Shane and Alan, and I didn't try to push it on them or say that they should think he's right. And then in good time, they ended up taking a look at it. And Shane got that AE summary. Did you see that? The AE summary that I posted, Gateburger? The 9
here for Witsit,
screenshots.
Bro. Witsit's got the
What's with all the Witsit plays?
You're trying to start shit with me and Witsit, dude. Witsit and I are buds. We'll talk dual pole at some point for sure.
Witsit's model in particular.
We have already. Witsit doesn't.
Wait, how does Witsit
have a
go?
model. He's talking about the Joe Hanvey model.
How's Witsit go with the Gleason's map without wraparound?
You want to have the wraparound debate right now, percentage?
No, I'm just wondering. Like the Gleason map, like the 24-hour sun kind of debunks it without wraparound.
Well, yeah, but you just think it's a wraparound, but it doesn't work that. We've been through this, bro. It just goes either south or north. The sun doesn't have to wrap around anything. It works perfectly with the dual pole.
I said Gleason's, bro.
Huh?
I'm asking about Witsit and how he reconciles it with the Gleason's map.
I think he's talking about the Joe Hanvey.
Said he supports the
He's
Gleason's.
just trying to start shit.
Okay.
He supports the Joe Hanvey, I guess is what he's saying. He likes the Joe Hanvey because of the physical model being made by him or whatever as a possible solution. I mean, these are all just conceptual possibilities, but if you can get it to work as a physical model, and he's actually got the 24-hour sun working with that, I'd take a look at it. I don't know if he has the 24-hour sun working, with the physical model that he built. Does anyone else look at it? If it's the Gleason's map, I just kind of assume that's not the way it is. Because we have the dual pole electromagnetic field is very compelling. Just that the sky matches the electromagnetic field like to a T. It's hard to at least not find that interesting, even if you don't think it's right. It's kind of like a direct correlation to the way it looks in the sky. And everything's electromagnetic. We're electric beings. We're divided in the same way, The symmetry, circulation
Still
of our
broken without
lungs.
wraparound.
Yeah, I don't want to have that debate with you right now, bro. It works. I don't know what you're even saying with that. I think you got set on it being this metaphysical thing with a wraparound, and you committed to that, and you don't want to consider anything else. I'm not sure why you got. There's no Pac-Man angle
look
wraparound.
at the second last image that you posted, that GIF. How are the stars, the celestial equator stars? Stars at the celestial equator, how are they going from one side to the other?
They converge and diverge, just like an electromagnetic field.
That's from a 360 cam video. So one side of the image is actually the other side of the image. They connect.
Yeah, but it's not two sides of that. It's not the top and the bottom of the ball. It is a wide angle lens for that one. But they converge and diverge even without wide angle lens.
You're hearing things, bro. I made a statement. Your statement. Can you at least acknowledge what I said? You acknowledge that, right? That image you posted.
Yeah,
That's a
I agree.
360 cam.
I agree. Yeah,
Okay.
to get that
Okay.
wide of an angle.